my pleasure that today's program features so many women. It's my pleasure indeed that these women are also very diverse. No disrespect to the gentlemen in the program, but it's also a particular pleasure to introduce the next speaker because it's a young woman. And what she represents goes to the heart of what the Africa Union Day theme this year is: educating Africans fit for the 21st century, or should we say, an education fit for the 21st century. So Nthanda Manduwi is especially special because she returns from her work at the UNDP in New York and rejoins us here in Malawi to further the work of her foundation. She's the founder of Nthanda Foundation, which utilizes creativity and technology to develop advocacy here in Malawi and Africa. Nthanda Manduwi, please address this esteemed gathering.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Nancy Tembo, His Excellency the Ambassador of Morocco to Malawi, Abdikadir Naji, all Excellencies here present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to address you today on this special occasion as we celebrate Africa Day 2024. This day is a testament to our shared heritage, unity, and a collective journey towards developing Africa. I am speaking to you today on behalf of not only Malawian youth, but African youth. The theme for Africa Day 2024 is educating an African fit for the 21st century. By 2051, Africa will have a ratio of 1.7 to 1, a ratio of working population to dependents. Africa is experiencing at the moment a demographic dividend. As of today, 80% of Malawians are under the age of 35. 80 of every 100, 8 of every 10 are young people in Malawi under the age of 35. Now, exactly 2 years ago, I was hired by the UNDP to go to New York. It's a program that's aimed at engaging more youth from the Global South and countries that are underrepresented in the UN system. It was a highly competitive process, and I was the top 20 out of 38,709 applicants. When I got the job offer to relocate to New York, I met with some of my mentors, some who are here that I won't mention right now, but some asked me that you have worked so hard to build a company and initiative in Malawi. Are you willing to leave that and start over? And I jokingly said, nothing much happens in Malawi in 2 years. I'll be back. So this year's theme, Educate an African Child, it's a theme that really resonates with our mission and work at Nthanda Foundation. At the Nthanda Foundation, we're dedicated to using creativity and innovation for development through advocacy. We strive to equip young people with skills and knowledge necessary to thrive in a rapidly changing world. And this mission also aligns with Malawi's MIP1 and the Malawi 2063 vision, which envisions an inclusively wealthy and self-reliant industrialized upper middle income country by the year 2063. We work closely with governments and international development partners. And in 2021, we, through a public-private partnership with the Malawi government, received $250,000 from the World Bank, and we set up 2 technology and innovation hubs, one that is here in Lilongwe and one that is in Mangochi district. I recently returned to Malawi about a month ago, exactly a month ago actually. And returning after 2 years, my first impression was not only was I right that nothing much would happen in 2 years, but it almost feels like we're actually worse than when I left. When I was in New York, I worked on the Global SDG Synthesis Coalition. And allow me to quote the United Nations Secretary General. He says, regrettably, the SDGs were already off track even before the COVID-19 pandemic. Progress had been made in poverty reduction, maternal and child health, access to electricity, and gender equality, but not enough to achieve the goals by 2030. In other vital areas, including reducing inequality, lower carbon emissions, and tackling hunger, progress had either stalled or reversed. Now, when it comes to development initiatives, it is public knowledge that we often fail. The Millennium Development Goals were hardly achieved. In the local context, we failed to realize the Vision 2020. The SDGs are so off track, and we are just 6 years from the year 2030. As Malawi, now we have the Malawi 2063, and just before this event, I had to calculate how old I will be. By the year 2063, I will be 68 years old. The majority of the people who will live to see 2063 are the youth, the 80% of the population. And those are the people that we need to engage to champion these initiatives because it directly impacts their future. My master's thesis speaks to the theme of today. It's on the entrepreneurial opportunity posited by Africa's digital transformation, how Africans can better model information management systems for development. And we as Nthanda Foundation are how to contribute to this vision through our programs, building a foundation of digital skills and innovative thinking among youth. And I believe some of you may have seen it when you came in. We created an online learning management system that teaches young people digital skills, and we have reached over 20 countries in Africa, impacting over 1,000 young people. The youth are the cornerstones of the vision we have for Africa, with over 80% of Malawi population under the age of 35. The potential for a transformative impact is immense, and meaningful youth engagement is not just important, it is imperative. The young people are the drivers of innovation, economic growth, and social progress. They bring fresh perspectives, boundless energy, and a keen sense of the digital world that is reshaping our global economy. I want to share with you a brief story as I conclude. Just before I returned to Malawi, I was invited by Harvard Business School to explore the MBA program, and I was traveling from New York to Boston. Now, on my way, I took the train. As soon as I got on the train, one thing fascinated me. Every single person that got on the train, whether young or old, took out their laptop, put it on their lap, and started immediately working. Now, as somebody who's working in the digital space, it almost immediately clicked to me how vastly behind Africa is, because the West is not stopping. The West is moving quickly forward, and it's very imperative right now that we prepare Africans for the world that is vastly digitizing, especially in light of AI and things that are leaving Africa vastly behind. Now, every time I return to Malawi, my first thought is, I cannot wait to leave. I recently incorporated my company in the United States because I find it as an entrepreneur especially hard to get things done in Malawi and also to integrate across Africa. And this shouldn't continue. It should be easier for Africans to work on the African content, to integrate across African countries, to reach more Africans across the continent. So allow me to conclude in this way. I envision in Malawi, and by extension Africa, where we are not only proud to be Malawian, but also African. An Africa where we're proud to speak of our developments. And this starts with investing in the youth through education, educating an African fit for the 21st century, the fourth industrial revolution. Thank you.